I started practice in 1998, and that was a time when, the internet was really starting to come into its own. There was a lot of IPOs, venture funding was really taking off at that point. It was a pretty exciting time, and I think some of the West Coast firms started servicing them in the way you see a lot of them serviced now with, deferral of fees and that kind of a thing where, you don't have grumpy people saying, why haven't you paid my bills at day 31? There's a lot more flexibility with these kinds of clients, understanding their capital needs and their growth potential. I mean, a lot of different firms have different policies, so some of them go with a deferral model. Some firms take some equity along with that. Other firms say, we'll go light on you and see how you do.
Right.
And it really just comes down to the flexibility of the firm, the flexibility individual attorneys.
Again, when I read about your background, it's really kind of amazing. Yes, you don't think of yourself as a trendsetter, and I don't think a lot of people who are think of themselves that way. But you're working in areas that people just didn't think of working. 30 or 20 years ago, people did think of high tech. You're in high tech, but they didn't think of life sciences and medical devices, and they weren't into all those different areas. Do you see all those categories as being different?
Obviously, when you open the hood, the substance of what's going on is different. The funding mechanisms tend to be the same in terms of equity versus debt, the kind of structures you need to set up among founders. So a lot of those parts of it are the same. But the underlying technology, I was a political science major, so particularly when we get into the biotech field, that's when you need to pull in subject matter experts like patent lawyers from the various disciplines to help out with the nitty-gritty of the science and the technology on that front. A lot of it comes down to the type of investor and how familiar they are with the area, what their horizon is for when they think they'll get the return, and then understanding the funding needs of the business. Obviously, someone who can go to market and start selling a product in a year to 18 months is going to have a different funding horizon and different funding needs than someone who's not, than a company that won't be out in the marketplace for 7 years. If they ever get there, a lot of them get acquired before they get to that stage. Earlier on in my career, when I was working with certain partners at the firm who had the experience that would bring them in, that was one way to learn. The other way is, you go to a lot of events. There's all kinds of different groups that are in Boston where you can go and hear subject matter experts speak and learn about the area. So that's another way you can do it, and you can read up. And frankly, you can ask a lot of questions. You try to be curious and really figure out, even if they think they know what they're doing, sometimes you need to really kick the tires with them and
Right.
have them think about, some of the assumptions that they have, particularly not just on the science stuff, but really on the business side. Like, what are their assumptions about when they can get to market, who their customers are, what they can charge for it, what their competitors look like, things like that.